Hey guys, welcome to my newest video for today. For today's video I'm going to be doing the final part of my DVD Blu-ray update for the first half of 2018. So these are all the Blu-ray movies that I've picked up since the start of the year. And I didn't realise until I actually got the pile together just how many I'd picked up. So I've got quite a few here, which I'm sure actually comes as no surprise to most people, but I thought I'd been doing relatively well with the Blu-ray buying, and then, yeah, judging by the stack here and obviously my previous updates, yeah, I've spent a bit more than what I probably should have. But anyway, I'm just going to get straight into it. And first up, I do have some Blu-ray blind buys that I haven't had a chance to watch yet. And I should also note that some of these movies in the second pile are ones that I picked up initially without having seen, so you might be sort of wondering, like, why on earth did I pick up that movie? And yeah, that would be why. I mostly, yeah, so there's some questionable movies in there, but I got them like as part of like good deals, so I thought, you know, why not? It's relatively cheap. So yeah, there's some movies in there I normally probably wouldn't have picked up, but if you're wondering about them, that's why they're in this update. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it, and starting off with the movies I haven't seen. I've got a couple of classics because I've mentioned previously I'm trying to watch more classics this year, and two of them that I haven't seen are Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Citizen Kane. Yeah, I'm probably like one of the last few people left who hasn't seen the Citizen Kane, but hopefully at some point I will get around to watching these two movies. So and then probably a movie that I'm sure most of you are surprised I haven't seen yet, and that is The Greatest Showman. I don't know what it is, I just haven't put this on yet. I think it's mostly because, well, probably because I'm trying not to go into it with too high expectations, because I think that initially ruined my enjoyment of La La Land when I saw that for the first time. I mean, I do like La La Land, but I think I went into that film with like way too high expectations, and I'm trying not to do that for this one. And I think if I just sort of, you know, pace myself and put it on when I'm in the mood to actually want to watch it, I think I'll get more out of it. And also the other reason that I've sort of been hesitant is because I have such a soft spot for the 1980s Barnum musical, because I was actually in a local production of Barnum, so I've, yeah, sort of a bit biased towards musicals about Barnum, but yeah, I'll get around to watching it eventually, because I do want to actually see it. So yep, so Greatest Showman. And then I've got, the next one was an upgrade that I had initially on DVD, and I thought, I saw it as part of like a 3 for $20 deal, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to pick it up and add it to the collection, and that is The Devil Wears Prada. So I initially had this on DVD, but never got around to watching the DVD before it got sold off. So I have it in the collection again, and at some point I will watch this. So Devil Wears Prada. And then another one I have is The Founder. I wanted to see this initially when it came out, but I never got round to seeing it. But it seems like it could be an interesting like bio-drama like film, so about the founders of McDonald's. So yeah, and it's got Michael Keaton in it, so I think this should be a pretty good one to watch. So Founder. And then this is probably, yeah, the first one of the films where you're sort of like, why did I buy it? But I got The House with Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler, I think that's how you say her name. I don't know, it just seems like it could be just a fun way to spend a couple of hours, and I do like Amy Poehler, so I thought, you know what, it's cheap, I'll give it a shot. So yeah, The House. And another film that was initially one I had on DVD, and I got the Blu-ray to add back in my collection, and that is Mars Attacks. I still haven't seen this. I don't know why. It's the main reason I initially wanted to see it was because Natalie Portman was in it, and she's one of my favourite actresses, but I still haven't gotten around to watching it yet. So I think it's one of the ones that I do want to definitely try and get to sooner rather than later. So we'll see what happens to that. So that's Mars Attacks. And then I have, the last two I have in this pile here are Their Finest, which is a World War II period drama. I like period dramas, well, for the most part I like period dramas, but yeah, this one just seemed interesting to me because it sort of was like a different take on World War II. It's more on the home front, and like, yeah, it's like about like writing and acting and things like that. So I think it should be a good one because I do like these type of movies. So that's Their Finest. And then the last one for this pile that I have is Westworld, which I've been making my way through the TV show, and I've been really enjoying the TV show. I'm up to, I mean, I haven't watched very much of season 2 yet. I'm up to season 2, episode 2, so I do have a bit to catch up on, but I do want to watch the movie because I'm sort of intrigued to sort of see what the movie is like, and it has Yul Brynner in it, and I do like his movies, so I thought this one would be a good one to check out. So yeah, that's Westworld. And then we just have the next stack here is the films that I have seen. So running out of room here. So basically, start off with, I have, let's put that one. So 47 Meters Down. I thought this was actually a pretty decent shark thriller because I sort of have a love-hate relationship with these because, you know, I'm not asking for them to be like Jaws, but at the same time I don't want them to be like Sharknado. So I very rarely find them that are in the middle, and this one luckily was in the middle because it seemed like a cool premise, and yeah, it was pretty decent. So 47 Meters Down, and then have American Made, which I saw back in the cinema, and then I sort of rewatched it as well once I got the Blu-ray. I really liked this one. I do like Tom Cruise films for the most part, because like in terms of sort of recent films, I think the only one I haven't really liked is Jack Reacher 2. But everything else I've more or less enjoyed, and American Made was one of them. It's sort of, yeah, very sort of, like the plot is so like really crazy, but it's like based on a true story, so it's sort of, yeah, it's a really out there film, but I thought it was entertaining. So that's American Made. And then a film that's kind of awkward, sort of a bit awkward to watch now, and that is Baby Driver. But I did like this film when I saw it, and you know, ignoring the whole Kevin Spacey controversy aside, I did want this movie in my collection because it was one of the films that I enjoyed last year. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as a lot of people I think had this in their like top, you know, 10s and top 5s, but I thought this was still a pretty good film. So yeah, and I did want it in my collection. So that's Baby Driver. And then I have The Beguiled, or The Beguiled. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, but I mainly wanted to watch this because like it's got, you know, a fantastic cast, and also I haven't really seen too many Civil War period dramas, so I thought this one would be a different one to check out. And yeah, I thought it was pretty decent, like nothing like super amazing or that, but I liked it. So, but yeah, I haven't actually seen the Clint Eastwood version of this, but I did like this one. So that's The Beguiled. Then of course I have Black Panther, which I absolutely loved. I haven't actually rewatched it since seeing it at the cinema, but I am planning to do a MCU like rewatch of the films once Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out. So I'll be starting from Iron Man and working my way through the films. So yeah, but I definitely did love this one, and I can't wait to give this a rewatch. So that's Black Panther. And then I also have Blade Runner, which I I only saw for the first time last year, which, again, being following my channel for a while, you'll know that it tends to happen a lot with a lot of these type of films. But I did enjoy this because I wanted to see this film before I saw the sequel, so I do have a Blade Runner 2049. I absolutely loved this film. I think I loved it even more than the original Blade Runner, but I think it's because I only saw this film for like the first time last year, so a lot of people who had like who probably had like more of a connection to the movie probably didn't enjoy the sequel as much. But you know, I loved the sequel, but I still enjoyed the first one. So yeah, so that's Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And then a film I know a lot of people didn't really like, but I actually thought wasn't all that bad, and that is The Circle. I haven't read the book that this is based on, and if I'm being honest, I don't really have much interest in like reading the book now, but I thought this was pretty decent, and it's, you know, it's got a good cast, so it's, yeah, it's definitely not like the worst film that people were making it out to be. So that's Circle. And then I have a couple of animated films here. So I have Coco, which completely surprised me when I saw it at the start of the year, because this was the first film I saw at the cinema this year, and I went into it not really expecting all that much, but yeah, this was, yeah, I just loved it. I thought this was such an interesting story, and you know, like most Pixar films, made me laugh, made me cry. It's definitely a roller coaster of emotions, but I thought this was a really good one. So that's Coco. And then I have Despicable Me 3. I love the Despicable Me films. I know this one didn't get as good reviews, I think, but I personally love this. I had so much fun watching it, and it got all the points alone, I think, just for the Minions singing Modern Major General. I thought that was brilliant, because, you know, I love, you know, Pirates of Penzance and Gilbert and Sullivan, so them singing Modern Major General was like a definite highlight for the film for me. So, but I did overall like this story as well, so it's Despicable Me 3. And then I finally got around to watching Get Out, which, of course, one of probably the biggest surprises of last year, and I can definitely say now is it's well deserving of the hype, because I sort of went into it because I'm very picky when it comes to like horror movies, because and I suppose you can argue it's more of a thriller than an actual horror, but I thought this was, you know, very well done, and yeah, definitely deserving of all the awards and nominations it got. And it's actually, in terms of Best Picture nominees, it's actually my favourite out of well, what I've seen, because I still haven't seen Lady Bird or Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, but at this point, Get Out is my favourite of them. So yeah, I loved this movie. So let's Get Out. And then another film that is one of my favourite films that I've watched recently, and that is Hunt for the Wilder People. This movie was just amazing. It's and it's by Taika Waititi, so it's sort of because like you've seen like What We Do in the Shadows and Thor Ragnarok, it sort of follows like that similar style of humour. And yeah, I just thought this was such a movie story, you know, about finding what family is, and yeah, having this sort of whimsical adventure through the New Zealand wilderness. And yeah, this film was fantastic, and I definitely can't wait to rewatch it in the future. So let's Hunt for the Wilder People. And then I added Jason Bourne to the collection, because I figured, well, I've got all the other ones, so may as well pick up the fifth one. And I actually liked this film. I haven't seen it since I saw it at the cinema, so that was a couple of years ago, but I remember really enjoying it. So whether or not my opinion still holds up when I rewatch it, probably whenever I get around to rewatching like the franchise, but yeah, I did like it when I saw it. So yeah, that's Jason Bourne. Then I got John Wick Chapter 2. I think for this one, I really loved it when I saw it at the cinema, but I think because I hadn't rewatched the first one, and I didn't really remember much of the first one until like when I picked up the Blu-ray and I watched the first one and then watched this one. I think the first one is actually still the better film, but this one was still very entertaining, and yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing where the third one goes. So yeah, John Wick Chapter 2. Then I have one of the biggest surprises for me in terms of films is Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I did because I love the 95 Robin Williams film, but this one, yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I thought this was a lot of fun. I sort of loved how they updated it with the video game, and yeah, I thought the humor worked really well in this, and yeah, it just was a very pleasant surprise. So that's Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. And then I have Justice League, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I actually didn't mind this one. I mean, yes, it has its problems, but it's still, I don't know, I thought it worked well. It's definitely, yeah, just, you know, fun 2 hours superhero film. So not my favourite of the DC EU, but I thought this was still pretty enjoyable for what it is. So that's Justice League. And then I have Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I loved Kingsman: The Secret Service. There we go. But I don't think the sequel was quite on par with the first one, and it's sort of, yeah, in terms of the first film, it just felt very unnecessary to me, which is kind of disappointing because I loved the first one. But yeah, it may grow on me like after like if I give them a rewatch. So, but anyway, I did want to pick it up for the collection. So that's Kingsman: The Golden Circle. And then another film that I know a lot of people didn't really care for, but I actually really enjoyed it, and that is Life. I think it's partly because I love the trope of, you know, they're trapped on a space station and there's something, or like in a really closed, like claustrophobic environment, and there's something out there that's going to kill them. I really do love that trope, so I think that worked really well for this one. And I will admit I didn't actually see the ending coming, but I don't think it did well enough at the box office to warrant a sequel, which is kind of a shame because I would have liked to have seen what would have happened. But anyway, I did want to pick this up for the collection, so that's Life. And then a film I was actually wanting to see, but then when I watched it I was a bit disappointed in it, and that is My Cousin Rachel. Now, I didn't read the book that this is based on because this is by based on a book by Daphne du Maurier, who wrote Rebecca. I really didn't care for Rebecca, but I loved the Alfred Hitchcock film. Now, I was sort of hoping a similar thing would happen with this if I didn't read the book and then I went into the film. But this was, I just felt really slow, and I didn't really care for what was happening or any of the characters. And yeah, as someone who loves period dramas, I think, yeah, definitely, I thought this was just a average film, so not one I'd foresee myself revisiting in the future. But anyway, that's My Cousin Rachel. And then I have Now You See Me 2. I really enjoyed the first Now You See Me movie, but I thought this one was a lot of fun because I haven't actually seen it since I saw it at the cinema, but I remember really enjoying it, so I'll probably give this another rewatch at some point. But yeah, they're just fun action films with, like, I mean, the magic is pretty ridiculous in this, but I just always had a fun time with it. So yeah, so that's Now You See Me 2. And then I finally got around to watching Once, which I was surprised it actually took me this long to see the film, because, you know, I love musicals, and I know this one has gotten a lot of praise over the years, and I finally can see why. I think because I watched Begin Again first, which is by the same director, I think I love that film more, but I thought this was still pretty, like, good. I loved sort of, you know, the songs and how, like, simplistic it was, and yeah, just sort of seeing the characters develop their relationship over music. And yeah, I think it's out of this one of yeah, one of my favourite songs is When Your Mind's Made Up. I really did love that song, so yeah, I'll see, like, hopefully revisit it in the future, and like, it might grow on me even more, so yeah, so once. And then I have a film that completely and utterly destroyed me when I saw it at the cinema. Of course, I went and picked it up on Blu-ray, and that is Only the Brave. I went into this without knowing what the true life story was. I don't know if that would have stopped me from necessarily seeing it had I known just how devastating, like, this true life story is, but I thought, you know, it was sort of one of those natural disaster movies where it would have a happy ending. Not a happy ending film. I have to stop going into movies expecting a happy ending, like, especially if they're natural disaster based. But yeah, this movie, yeah, it was, because I think it's one of the ones that really gave it the emotional impact that it did. Was, I mean, aside from obviously being a horrible true life story, like what happened, but over the film you sort of get to know these, like, the characters on the screen, and yeah, and then you're just wanting them, you know, to band together and survive, like, you know, these dangerous conditions, and then at the end of it, it's like, it rips your heart out and completely crushes it. So, but it's still a really, really incredible film. Just, it's a really, really sad one as well. So, that's sort of my warning if you're wanting to watch this movie. So, don't expect a happy ending, like, feel-good happy ending film for, like, you know, if you're thinking it's like a natural disaster based movie. So yeah, so that's Only the Brave. And then sort of going along with the natural disaster films, and again, sort of where the whole, I have to stop going into natural disaster films expecting a happy ending, and that is The Perfect Storm. I hadn't seen this film, and it's sort of one that I wanted to watch, and yeah, I did actually quite like this one, and again, I was expecting a happy ending, and I didn't get the happy ending, so, but yeah, but it was still a good film, so it's Perfect Storm. Then I have The Post, which, with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. I was actually surprised by this film, because I sort of wasn't expecting a whole lot going in, because I'd heard this being compared to Munich, which, like, it was the best Steven Spielberg film since Munich, and I really didn't like Munich, so that was I was like, oh, if it's like that, I'm not going to enjoy it. But no, I did actually really enjoy it. I sort of liked the whole, you know, how they came together to actually post, or, you know, the Pentagon Papers and all the legal implications and fallout, and yeah, I thought it made quite a fascinating story. So it's like with the like, it's based on true events, and it's sort of, but it's still like it was very relevant in today's society, I thought, as well, with like freedom of the press and that. So yeah, I did quite enjoy this one. So that was The Post. And then another film that again, people will probably be like, why did you get this? And that was Rough Night. Now, I went into this with definitely low expectations, and I think that actually worked, because while it's nowhere near the best film ever, I did get a couple of laughs out of it, and I don't know if I necessarily rewatched again, but you know, it's just a fun, dumb comedy, and it's sort of one of those ones you want to put in if you want to kill a couple of hours. But yeah, it is what it is. So that's Rough Night. And then speaking of Academy Awards, I've got this year's Best Picture winner, which is The Shape of Water. I did very much enjoy this film, and it was actually my favourite of the nominees until I saw Get Out. But yeah, I am glad this won, because I did think this was a very it was like yeah, it was very sort of different, and also I sort of loved the whole, like, the 60s setting, and you sort of had so, like, everything that was going on at that time, like, it was like the political commentary and all of that, and at the same time it was, what's her character, Eliza, I think that's the character's name, was sort of like her relationship with this fish creature, and yeah, I just really loved it. So I've got to have to go ahead and pick it up for the collection. So that's The Shape of Water. And then we get to what is probably the most controversial pickup of this collection, and that is Star Wars The Last Jedi. Of course I was going to pick this up because I'm one of the, well, I want to say few people, it seems, because it seems like not more people dislike this film than liked it, but I absolutely loved this film, and I'm not ashamed to say that I loved it. So yeah. So of course I went ahead and picked it up. So and I have since rewatched it since getting the Blu-ray, because I rewatched all the Star Wars films, and I think it actually my enjoyment of it on the second viewing improved it even more. But because I think when I first went into it, I wasn't, like, when I saw it at the cinema, I wasn't very sure how I was going to like it, and then as it went on, I got more involved in the story, and yeah, by the end I absolutely loved it. But I think going into it, having seen it already, yeah, my enjoyment was, you know, I got more involved from the start and sort of seeing, how the story evolved and the characters and all of that. But yeah, I absolutely love this film. So, and yeah, definitely it's going to be interesting seeing what happens for episode 9, I think, because sort of, yeah, the way like it changed the story up, it's sort of like, okay, well, what are they going to do for episode 9 now? So be definitely curious to see what happens. So yeah, so that's The Last Jedi. And then I also picked up Thor Ragnarok, which is, of course, the other Marvel MCU release, and yeah, this one was such a blast to watch at the cinema, and it's actually, yeah, I think it would be one of my favorites, like, MCU films. I have to do a well, I think what I'm going to do in terms of the rankings, I'm going to wait until Avengers 4 comes out, and then I'll sort of rank the first, like, the 20 films that are out. But yeah, this one is definitely going to be sort of higher up on that list, because I know the Thor films aren't all that popular. A lot of people don't seem to care for them, but I have a soft spot for Thor because it was actually the first of the MCU films I saw at the cinema back in 2011. So I've always enjoyed these films. So, but yeah, this one's definitely, I think, sort of blows them out of the water, just how, yeah, in terms of, like, the story and, yeah, this, just, like, the general direction it took this, these characters. And yeah, and of course it obviously ties in directly to Infinity War, but yeah, I really did love this film, so definitely, again, another one I'm looking forward to rewatching. So that's Thor Ragnarok. And then we're getting down to the last couple of films. So the first one I have is Transformers: The Last Knight. Again, I know a lot of people don't really like these films, but you know, they're a fun way to spend, well, wait, how long is this? Actually, it's like 2 hours 20 minutes, I think. So yeah, I mean, you know, they're nothing amazing or anything, but I remember enjoying it when I saw it at the cinema. So and at some point I do want to actually do, like, a rewatch of the Transformers films. So yeah, at some point I will sit down and rewatch this one. So that's Transformers: The Last Knight. And then the last film that I have in this update, and the last thing to show in my DVD Blu-ray update for the first half of 2018, is The Zookeeper's Wife, which, yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect going into this, because, again, this is another World War II period drama, but this one, it sort of follows this couple who worked at, Poland. It follows the Nazi invasion of Poland, and then them trying to keep their zoo, well, because they work at the where is it, they work at the zoo. I don't think they got the name. Yeah, but because they're trying to save the animals and keep them from being put down. But I will tell you, the first sort of probably half hour had one of the most brutal scenes, I think, in like seeing like one of these type of war films, because I absolutely hate it when animals get hurt. And so there's one scene that shows the destruction of the zoo, and that was one of the hardest scenes to actually watch, I think. And you see a lot of war, like World War II movies, and there's some pretty horrific scenes in there, but yeah, I think for me, like, yeah, just seeing animals getting hurt and killed, that definitely hit a soft spot for me. So that one I found would be one of the more brutal scenes. And then of course, like, you obviously have, because it's based on a true life story, and it's because they sort of used the zoo as a cover to help like Jews escape from Poland. And yeah, just sort of how they went about it, it sort of actually really was like incredible, like the risk that they took for their own lives to protect the Jews, and also to stand up to the Nazis. And yeah, I thought this was done pretty well. It's the story and that. So yeah, I'm definitely glad I did sit down to watch it, even if it had that the zoo scene at the start. But yeah, so that's the Zookeeper's Wife, and that is it for my DVD Blu-ray update for the first half of 2018. So this was all the Blu-rays I've picked up since the start of the year. So hopefully my Blu-ray buying is going to wind down a bit, just because obviously I've still got quite a few I need to watch, and try not to spend so much money. But yeah, so I think that's basically it for this video, so I'm just gonna stop it here. So thank you guys for watching, and until my next video, I will see you guys next time. Bye!